from what I have personally observed, you make it an effort to do good business with people.
I want to be I want everything I do to be sustainable, and then I realize whatever energy I put out
So,
is gonna come back to.
I think your story is important to let other people know that it's okay. A way will find itself, right?
I didn't, and I'll tell you this. Speaking of that, I did not know the how every time. I knew where I saw myself going, like the end result, but I didn't know how I was going there. I did not always know, let's say, the vehicle or the person to contact or where to go. Especially with college, I knew I was going to go to college, but I didn't know exactly how different things would have happened after that. You know what I'm saying? And speaking of that, like even after I graduated from business school, I ended up becoming a substitute teacher because my mom taught, I was trying to figure out what I want to do. I knew it was music because I just wanted to inspire people and I knew music was powerful. I wanted to make a difference. And so mom was like, hey, you should try substitute teaching. Me not thinking like she knew growing up as a child, even with learning kickball. I just learned kickball, but something in me caught it. And I'm already trying to teach everybody else how to play kickball. So she started teaching me, But I looked, I sat there and thought, I was like, I was thinking about my goals. I was like, you know what? I want my music to reach a lot of people. It needs to connect with the youth. Oh, I substitute. I'm going to different schools. Oh, I can sing to the students. Students, when they, you know how they do, they going to talk, tell people, tell their friends, tell their family. Then they grow up, especially at high school, they going to have children. I'm thinking of this domino effect number. Like, whoa. So that's how I got
Get you
into
like a ton of bricks.
Yeah, girl. So that's how I got into substitute teaching. Not knowing I get there. Every school I go to different ones, long-term stuff, they going to want you there forever. Then long story short, now I'm a teacher, science teacher, while I continue, to grow. And then now, not knowing that I didn't realize how even teaching now, the different things, the goals I have, ways are being made through teaching for me to reach those goals. I'm one of the main ones from my school that they call for implementing the arts. So now the different trainings and things that I wanted, I'm like, whoa, I get to do them now with no cost. And different times getting paid or getting stipends or getting extra things. And now I have the students there to help me to practice my gift. You see what I'm saying? Get to be in front of students, practice, I can sing something, even helping them to cultivate their gifts, So it's just amazing. Like I've never always knew the how every time, but all I continue to do is put out the what, have the vision, write it down, do what I can each day to take steps towards it, and I just see things manifest.
And y'all, she telling y'all the truth because it's so much that I want to share in my own life that has happened this far, and I'm so glad you mentioned that because that keeps me on track too, because I can get very caught up in how, but and I know you follow law of attraction as well. That's one of the things that a lot of speakers talk about is we are so focused on the how to the point that's all you see. And if that's all you, it stunts you. If all you see is the how, you're not going to even want to do nothing else. You don't have to focus on the how. When you set the intention and you go after that intention, you'd be surprised how things show up. And you never know what vessel your vision is going to flow in. You really don't. Like you just said, you didn't know that.
I say it like traveling. Like if you're traveling, I can only see so far down the highway.
Yeah.
I have an idea. I know where I want to go. I can only see so far. You don't know when you're traveling, say you want to go to Disney World. You don't know if it's going to be a roadblock somewhere where they take, you know what I'm saying? But thankfully GPS acts as a guide to help you get there. And there are other things out there too that act as a guide to help you get where you're going and get. Thank God for YouTube. I got different people that help me mentor on there, Then of course I meditate, study different things, law of attraction. So I'm doing whatever it takes to help me get there. Not saying that I know the entire way, but you're going to get there just step by step.
Yeah, and we don't have to, because that's a big thing too. Martin Luther King, I think that's his quote where he said, "You don't have to see the whole staircase to take the first step." It's literally one step ahead
At a
of the
time.
other, you know. In our brain, especially in this generation, because we such a microwave culture, especially with social media in the last 10 years. Everything is quick, quick, quick. Like, you got people on Instagram convincing people that they, not saying that you can't be a millionaire in 2 months. You can, but you get what I'm saying? Like, they're convincing people that there is no process to what you want in life.
Far from the truth.
And that's so dangerous.
One of my former business coaches, one thing she made sure she brought light or shed light to with me is knowing that it's not about going fast. Like, I was hoping certain thing would happen fast. She's like, no, if you do that, she's like, you're gonna miss some things that are vital to your journey that you need to learn that'll help you to sustain once you get there. Because a lot of people, different when they get there fast, they miss out on different aspects that'll help them to keep it. You know what I'm saying?
I absolutely get it. And going back to music again, that's a very prime example, because you have especially older artists now who have set their career up. I think Ronald Isley, he was on BET a long time ago, and he was talking about how they were able to sustain longevity. And this was 20-something years ago, but I remember it vividly. And he was saying, because we love what we do, we all play our role, and we love our music. And I've seen several artists who, like I said, they're older now, but they can still sell out. They will always have a career until the day they decide that they don't want to do it anymore, because they understood how to create longevity and how important it is to do things a certain way. And that, getting back to the microwave generation, everybody want to, they want that instant celebrity and all this stuff. But even a lot of this music, nobody will be playing that stuff 40, 50, 60 years. People will always play the Isley Brothers. They will always play Earth, Wind, and Fire. They will always do that too, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, it has to be deeper than you just wanting to be famous and be on TV. Because I've noticed from watching a lot of, like, documentaries on musicians, you have certain ones where, I'm not going to say they deserved it, but I understand how they ended up in that situation. It's almost like a get-rich type scheme. You have to have a vision attached to it, and it has to be bigger than you,
I heard,
right?
Rick Ross, he said, for him, it's not about moving quickly. It's about moving correctly.
Exactly.
And that's been a huge thing for me. And I'm enjoying the journey. I'm making sure I pay attention to what matters the most. Like, even to my personal level, like, you know, on the personal level, mental level, relationship-wise with different people connected in my life, you know, like, that's vital to me, moving correctly. Then something else you said, like, not knowing how close you are there. It's like laying brick by brick. You don't start out with a wall. You gotta lay brick by brick. And also, I had this visual of, it's a image they had out where it's like a guy, I guess sort of like in a cave trying to go towards the diamond or a jewel or whatever. And he about to give up, not knowing that it was literally
right
that
there.
close. You just couldn't see the other side.
Exactly.
But you were that close. You just
Exactly.
gave up, you know.
That's very important. And when you say doing things correctly, ethnical popped in my head too, because it's so important to treat people right, pay people fairly, you know, to do good business. That's also a part of your vision, like living out your life vision, because a lot of, you know, anybody can have a vision, but if you're willing to do some crooked stuff
Great.
to, you know what I'm getting at, which a lot of people do, And a lot of people still celebrate it for it, but you know, the universe takes care of everything in its own time. But that's one thing that I do appreciate about you is that you really, from what I have personally observed, you make it an effort to do good business with people.
I want to be like I want everything I do to be sustainable. And then I realize whatever I do to others, either be on a personal level, business level, if I'm treating you, I'm gonna treat you how I want to be treated.
Yeah.
And then I realize whatever energy I put out is gonna come back to me. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
so true. It's
So
so
some
true.
people don't realize, like even with their growth, it's different times. It's gonna take you planning into others as you go. Some of them be wanting to grow and get there first, and then plan into others. I'm like, no, you planning into me, I'm planning into you. Like, you know, some people be hoping to see, even for example, new business owners or entrepreneurs trying to see money fast, you know,
It's true.
and use those first, different people tell you, first 5 years, some 10 years or whatever. They're not seeing a complete profit because they realize, okay, I want to take care of my people connect to me who are at least helping me get where I'm going. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And I truly believe in it.
So how do you stay on your own pace? Like, how do you stay focused on what you got going and not feeding into, oh, well, this person is doing this, you know, this person getting this attention for this. How do you stay on your own course?
I realize, so I've studied other people's journey too, just looking, and I realize I don't care how great people are. They're human just like me.
Hello.
They have to put one foot into the you know, one foot in at a time with shoes or whatever, and they stay on the bed, you know. But still, they're still human. They have to go through training just like I do. They have failures just like I do. And when saying that, I'm just like, you know what? And it helped me years back when I was at UWA performing before Serendipity. I thought, like, before, I remember, you remember my song, Self-Control? Little self-control. I don't know if I told you.
I don't think I
Won't
heard
do
you.
you no harm. Little self-control. I never
I
put
ain't
it out.
heard that.
But you and love make things better. But I thought, I don't know if I thought I played it.
You need to
for
put
you.
that out.
But, so, I performed that song at Serendipity. And before performing it, though, I was nervous because I had to play the keyboard. And I just, so nervous. But I thought to myself, I was like, you know what? And I said on the mic, it's okay. They're human just like I am.
Right.
And they helped. And I was like, you know what? And I thought to myself, like, I'm more of a success already just for more of a hero just from getting on this stage. Because there's others who wanted to do it, but they were too afraid to. So I looked at it from,
because you showed up.
Yeah, I looked at it from that standpoint versus looking at it like a contest. Thankfully, I won and got some money. But, you know, stuff like that, I'm like, and I always look within and I stay true to the purpose.
Yeah.
My purpose is not trying to be better than this artist or that artist. My purpose is truly to inspire. Like, I'm living up to my name.
There you go.
Like, every day, it just made me think, man. So, at the beginning of my journey on social media, with my fan page, like I remember when I started at 0 to growing, I remember the commitment it took, and it still takes, but to grow even my social media. So I was back then, like I was subbing and working it was somewhere else I was working, but after I had to come home, and the time I left, staying up late, I'm studying social media, going there, paying attention to the language of people, what they're reacting to, commenting to, you know.
The algorithm.
Just to learn it. And back then, my mom didn't understand, like, what it took for me to grow. Because think about it, I'm not only the artist, I'm the marketer, the manager,
the agent,
everything.
the
You know what I'm
secretary,
saying?
all this stuff, yeah.
And so she didn't understand it. So she took it as if, dang, you addicted to social media, you got a problem. Like, she thought I was like needed to go to Weems or something.
Oh Lord, have mercy.
You know, she probably laughing now, but I'm like, I realized what it took and look at where I am now. Like, what my fan page at 10,000 or something?
Yeah.
On Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
my business page or fan page. I'm just like, I knew what it would take, and it's still gonna just take that consistency. And now she look at me and she's like, she be glad to tell people. I remember the war we went through, even with my name change. She was right, but she's happy now. That's my baby.
Yeah.
I'm Nspire Walker, mama.
And that's like such a full circle moment because it was a process, which especially when it's mama,
Yeah.
I think it's normal for most of us to go through that, and a lot of people don't. Change is scary for for a lot of people. So the fact that you did it and you came out better, you weren't bitter by the criticism. Like
I realized she was reflecting her own fears because I see, and I've noticed through time, she has begun to embrace like taking more chances on herself, even to now being, councilwoman.
And you played a big part in that, and I can say that because she told me that.
Yeah,
So yeah.
it doesn't matter if you fail. Oh well, the thing is you gave it your all.
Yeah, that's
Give it your all.
that's so amazing how you switch that around because a lot of the times the complete opposite.
Happen.
You know,
Ain't no reason to be bitter. If I put that out, I don't listen. I don't care what somebody put towards me. They gonna keep attracting it. You see what I'm saying?
right?
So I can only control what I'm putting out. And if you putting a certain thing out towards me and I'm not liking it, I can choose, okay, let me keep it step, you know what I'm saying? There are two kind of people in life that she sees. People who love and people who need love.
Ooh,
So
that's
something
good.
they're reflecting, they just need some love or some kind of light or something shined on it to help them to learn better.
That is so true.
Yeah.
And it's so simple, and I think that's the reason why a lot of people don't think that that's what it is because it is so simple.
Yeah.
But it's the truth. Like all we all really need is love because I used to hear that quote, it's only two human emotions. It's only two. It's fear and it's love. And when I first heard it, I'm like, what the hell? What you talking about? I started listening to all the other ones. No, it ain't this. But when it said in my spirit and I learned myself, not even observing other people's, it was observing me, whether I was operating towards myself out of love and fear. And I'm like, wait a minute, that is true. Anger is fear. Rejection is true. It's only two emotions, and everything is a cause and effect. So if you got one and you ain't got the other, you get what I'm saying? Like when I really understood that, it really like changed a lot of emotions that I had in myself and how I deal with people. And I'm still a work in progress.
All of us are.
But when you really understand that, you have more sympathy for yourself. And if you have more sympathy for yourself, you're able to give it to other people. And that's giving them the love that they need.
Speaking of sympathy, it just made me think about I could but in the past, it was easy for me to forgive others for what they've done for others or towards me, but it was hard for me to forgive myself. I'm like, dang, why I can forgive you, but when it comes to myself, so it's like we hard on ourselves than just you know what I'm saying? I was like, dang, and so I had to work through that and figure out like why is that, I had to realize, like, no, I need just as much patience and whatever, all that I'm giving towards others. Right, which you see, but just think of that mental that goes on.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I don't like letting people down. I always prided myself on being a woman of my word and being on time. If I tell somebody I'm going to be here, I'm gonna break my neck to be there when I said that. And it's a good thing, but you so right. You have to really know when it's to the detriment of your own mental health. Like if I got a big family thing going on, or it's something that I have to deal with. Yes, I told you that, but if you get that in your chest and you know that you don't need to be there, because especially if you're mentally you focused on all this other stuff you got going on, it's better if you don't go because you're not bringing the right energy there anyway, and that ain't helping nobody. So yeah, I absolutely agree. I want to touch on something just lightly.
Oh wait, hold on.
Just lightly.
But your eye like.
I copied like that. Okay. How is it being Nspire Walker? And a lot of people know you. You are. I say you are a figure in the community. How does that affect your love life? Do you have a love life?
It's all gravy now.
Hey.
So the thing is, once I put it this way, when I chose, even when it comes to, say, my love life, to start saying yes to Nspire versus trying to be the shero all the time for others, because honestly, I feel like, yeah, there's different things that helped me in my previous relationship or whatnot, but I had to start being my own shero versus trying to always save others. You know what I'm saying? So once I got to that point and I realized my mental health matter, and if I'm not mentally there and I'm still holding on to something for the sake of trying to help or save somebody else, it's not going to be good for their mental health either.
No.
You know? So I realized different people, like, I always try to look at the good. There's good, of course, some good in everybody. But when you're continuing to hold on to something or someone and you feel it out within you that it has served its purpose in the time, you still holding on for the sake of trying not to hurt somebody else, emotions or something, it's not going to work. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
So once I finally said yes to Nspire, yes to my own mental health,
And yes to my own happiness.
my
too.
own my own happiness. That's where the difference made, because honestly, I did not expect to be where I am now. I didn't know what would happen once I said yes to Nspire, because honestly, like, I had fears of letting go of, not knowing what's gonna happen.
I felt that so deep.
Like, oh yeah, I see this happen, and I may not have made the best decision with that relationship, but I had somebody else here, so maybe, you start tricking your own mind, psyching yourself out.
Ain't that so crazy how when we make the conscious decision to choose ourselves, it's so much fear around that when it should be automatic.
The opposite.
But that's so crazy to me because I'm the same way. When I choose to put myself first and be like, no, I'm not going to settle for that.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to do that. And a part of my brain, which a lot of people say is the ego, is like, girl, who you think you are? Girl, you better settle for this. Girl, you ain't gonna find nobody. That type of stuff.
And the stuff that society has trained us with thinking, like, oh, nobody's perfect. Which I know there aren't, but it's just, there's still things when it comes to your mental health. And I used to say this all the time, I'd rather be at peace by myself than to try to be in the company of misery.
Absolutely.
When you have two people, and if it's bringing misery like that,
and it's a difference between perfection and wholeness. And I learned that too from listening to people. Wholeness is when you are on your path to constantly making yourself better.
I like that.
It's I have to find it where I read that at, but it made so much sense to me because yeah, we do have this image of perfect, 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 but you're right, it does get to a point where I'm like, I'm not looking for perfection. I never said that I
Yeah.
expected that, but I want a person that's on the same mental frame as I am.
You,
And you're not finna make me feel like I'm being
hello.
uppity or something because that's what I desire. Because a lot of people do that. They really feel like you need to be content with dealing with
And
Ray
and
or
that's why they attract what they attract.
right, right,
Let them.
right.
You know what helped me? I just thought so. I grew up in a religious family, whatever. When I realized, because me, I'm open minded, I'm going to think. If one say, oh, don't question
Absolutely.
God, I
No,
think
I
about
don't
myself
question.
being a teacher. That's just like saying, don't question a teacher.
Mhm.
No, if you got questions, you better ask so you can get an understanding, and it
Mhm.
helps you to make better choices,
Mhm.
or, but one thing that helped me in regards to relationships and what I desired, I looked at the fact, because when I tell you I was the biggest Christian, I was the
Yeah.
biggest Christian. I was literally trying, like, giving my all, trying to deny, even though I felt like, dang, this not me, but I tried gave my all. But when I was studying the Bible and reading, going to church, different things, I realized, I'm like, dang, they telling me don't have all these requirements, this and that I expect from a relationship,
Mhm.
but with this relationship with so-called God, and you telling us look from Him,
Mhm.
all these stipulations need to be this, that. I say, dang, why can't I
That's
have,
true. I
you know
got
what I'm
you.
saying?
Mhm.
So when I saw that, I was like, nah, and I felt like, honest, I'm like, well, things that I desire, I'm like, I look back at myself because I'm
Mhm.
not going to just be designed if I'm not bring. So I looked at myself to see, am I this, that,
Right.
that? I'm like, well, shoot, why can't I have a reflection of me? You see what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Exactly.
So I'm like, no, I'm not going to put out what they're putting. I get what they're saying, like, where they say things won't be perfect, but I still believe, even though no one is perfect, I'm not
Mhm.
perfect, yet I feel there's one perfect for me. Because
Exactly.
honestly, what's perfect to you, not perfect to me.
Exactly.
Even honestly, people want to be real. Certain people don't see what some see as Jesus as perfection. Another person don't see that as
Exactly.
perfection. Like to them, they're like, nah, that ain't, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. That's true.
Or I don't care how you see. All of us were raised from different walks of life. Some people
Mhm.
raised with Buddhism.
Mhm.
So, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I attracted what's perfect for
For you,
me.
and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
It really is. Speaking of love life, can I ask you,
What?
do you
Talking about
how
treading
when it
lightly.
comes to staying true to who you are?
Okay.
I'm assuming one of the biggest like testimonies to staying true to who you are
Don't let it out. I feel
was
it. Don't tread lightly. Just let it out.
when you told everyone that
Uh-huh.
you are lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't hiding,
Mm-hmm.
Can you kind of briefly talk about like how
Gladly.
I'm glad it's thank you for saying
Gladly. Talking about
gladly.
tread lightly.
Well, I don't
Girl,
know.
when you
I
asked me to
just
do the interview, you ain't say tread lightly. Come on now. Oh, you finished talking?
yeah, go
Okay,
ahead.
well, let's tread on. All
Okay.
right.
I'm so glad you got this energy because I was like, how I would say it. I mean,
That's the
you
funny
know,
thing, sir. People really don't know how to ask questions when it
yeah.
comes to asking
Especially
about
now these
sexuality.
days,
Yeah, because
girl,
so
because
many people are
they'll chop
offensive.
my head
Yeah,
off if
people
I say
offend me.
something.
I'm not offensive. I'm
Uh-huh.
like, you learn just like I'm learning. Like,
Right.
you're not me, I'm not you.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing, if you offended by something, talk to the person, let them know, help them learn. So that
Exactly.
I'm good though. You did
Gotcha.
good. You did
Thank
good
you.
too.
Thank you, friend.
But long story short, with my journey and that person, I brought that up because that person also made reference to the fact that that's that's not who you were. You weren't raised that way. We weren't raised that way. And I'm like, oh, when I had looked, and I'm like, wait. Number one, for me, that let me know that person didn't know me. You know, just because somebody's your family or whatever, been around you for years, you can have somebody who only known you, let's say, for some months, know you way better than they do.
I can definitely attest to that because I have family tell me that all the time. That ain't you don't know me. Like it don't
So I'm
matter.
like, get to know. And certain things you choose to reveal to certain people for a reason because you feel like certain ones not number one not going to accept you for who you are. They're gonna try to reflect their own beliefs.
Yeah.
So you choose not to show it. And then also, even with who you show yourself to or reveal yourself to, that's still a part of law of attraction. It's not gonna let you reveal yourself to. It's all energy, how it all works, you know. But to make emphasis, even more reference to that, growing up, I had to let them know, like, I always have known what was here in my heart. But because we were raised a certain way, I tried to shy away from it and deny it, you know, especially with, you know, biblical in church they're teaching, go, you know, God will transform, keep doing this or that. So I got to the point and different people didn't realize, even different, like I had prophecies over me when I was to the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to embrace my authentic self. If God is who they're teaching me who he is, God's going to do the change. You know what I'm saying? Because I felt like I did all I could with change to being this best person. And then different times came where I was getting prophecies around the time. Once I decided, okay, I'm about to open up, because I felt it. I felt like a ton of bricks was on me.
Yeah.
And the people didn't know I was getting to a depressed state. You know what I'm saying? Even in church, being this good person. But I was getting to a depressed state because I felt like, dang, I'm so overwhelmed with trying to be who society and the world wants me to do. Be, you know, trying to, you know, date guys, this and that. And I never felt like I was connected to a guy like that, you know. But I'm trying to be who they want me to be. Even was engaged to a guy. Was going to get married. But thankfully, like, different stuff happened, you know, me being in college. And I realized I ain't missed a guy from one day to the next, like, and they're like, dang, you went off to college, you just act like you forgot. And I'm like,
I did.
So long story short with that, like, I remember going to Arkansas, it was a minister there, and even to one of my mom's previous church. I was like, man, I wonder if they know what they prophesied about. Because I know, but I wonder if they know what this is meaning to me. Like, one minister was like, he felt like they called me to the front. You know how they do call you out of the congregation. Whole hundreds of people there, they called me out. Like, wait, me?
Right.
Me?
Right.
So called me, but one of them was like, you felt like the weight of the world was lifted off your shoulder. And girl, I started crying because I knew what they were talking about because it just happened. Like, I'm opening a conversation with who I saw God was. And then another one talking about me being like a leader over the leaders when we went to a mission trip, like that the leaders was gonna call up on me for stuff. And in your mind, you're gonna try to put time, like, oh, maybe that'll happen when I'm such and such age.
Yeah.
Long story short, that happened that same year, at the end of the year. We went on a mission trip to Honduras. The minister called on me. He felt it in his spirit. I was supposed to pray over him before he was go up to do the message before these different Hispanics and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And he was literally shaking, like nervous, shaking because he told me he wanted me to pray over. But I guess he thought we were going to do it before we got into the ministry area. But my spirit, I'm big on following the unction. It didn't lead me to do it before we got in there. So it led me to do it once we got there. But he was like, oh. And when I came up to him, he said, oh my God, I was so scared because I knew you were supposed to, you know. But different things like that, to me, even being a praise and worship leader and still being used divinely, greatly, people feeling the unction, you know, I'm unctioning it. And I'm like, man, like God, you were using me then. I still was who I was, and then
I
started
get the
embracing.
connection you want.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was like, God, I'm who I'm supposed to be.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like being me helps me to truly be who I need to be for others in my calling, even to leading the rallies. I feel like I wouldn't be as fierce as I am if I didn't have my story.
If you would have stayed, quote unquote, in the closet, you would not. And even if you did, it would not have been authentic. And it's so important to show up in those moments authentic, because listen to a lot of celebrities talk about the great moments of their career, and I was so shocked how many of them said it was actually the lowest point in their life because they didn't show up as who they really were. So when people talk about their greatest moments, other people embrace it, but when they look at it, it's sadness and it's regret, because in whatever that moment was, they were not operating as their authentic self. So it's not a very memorable, special moment
Yeah, for them.
to them. So
Yeah.
you got to show up
Yeah,
as
yeah.
your authentic self. And another reason too why I want to bring that up is because I feel like it's still so important for um, gay people in general, but especially gay youth, to see people. And celebrity helps, but I feel like it's better to see people who look just like you,
And
who
who you know, and
operate.
who you know personally.
Yeah, that's so important, because you have to see yourself in these normal, you know what I mean, community teacher, lawyer, doctor, and stuff like that. And even now, it's so much negativity around coming out and being who you know, who you believe you are inside. It's still so much negativity. And I learned a lot watching the response to Little Nas X. You know, just observing how people have responded to him has taught me a lot about the condition of
One of the
humanity.
things I aim for daily is to be able to fully be out loud, my authentic self, from career and everything. That's what helped me to keep going. Because honestly, like, of course, I've been growing in my career, yet I know I'm not in a career where I can fully be my authentic self because of the politics of
Exactly.
certain jobs, you
Exactly.
know. So like with where I am now, like I can't talk about certain things, you know. But thankfully, you know, I built a relationship with my students where like they know Miss Walker is there for them, you know what I'm saying? And it's a safe haven for them. Different ones are end up talking to you about something before they will their parents, because they know their parents love the image of the idea of who their parents think they are
Exactly.
versus who they really are.
Exactly.
And that's something we definitely need to shed light on. The parents need to wake up to, like, these children don't really want to be their authentic self, but they're not telling you who they really are because they know how you are, different conversations you've had with them. You know what I'm saying? But that's why one reason I'm pushing daily, because not just for me, but I think about those
them.
youth,
Exactly.
and that'll help all the way around. Even the a lot of mental things going on in society, that'll help our society so much more if people could just authentically be themselves, fully out loud, be happier, help, you know. And then I think about where I came from. I can speak on this now because I'm not there anymore. And I love Olive Garden. Great managers there. I love them. But when I worked there, there was a time where an incident that happened where I was supposed to be serving this family. And long story short, the lady didn't want me to serve them, and I spoke out on it on social media because she didn't want me to serve them because then I looked like, I guess I was a transgender or whatever, especially because of the black what we had to wear. But everybody, if you would have saw the faces of my fellow servers, because they know I was one of the best. Everybody will request me, you know. But for somebody not to want me to serve them because of who they thought my gender or sexuality was, what does that have to do with me serving you, giving you the best service possible? For you dining in, coming to eat, you know, you was gonna get the best service possible, but because you didn't want that, you know, you could have. I don't know how the service turned out overall. I think it still went. Well, I know how it did. It went overall. It still went great because guess what I did? Even though I wasn't the server of the table, I still made sure they saw my face. I got the food when I waited for their food to come up so I could go take it to them, smile, you know. And I ended up saying something, but not in a disrespectful way. But I still ended up getting a write-up. but I talked online about it, but not in a disrespectful way for Olive Garden. But I got a write up just because I talked online about it. Even though I didn't say the person's name, but it caused more people who would come to Olive Garden because I'm there and request me. They're like, oh, I'm coming to request you. You know, they got more business, but in their mind, just because, you know, and it was other incidents happened where some people didn't want me to serve them because of what they felt my sexuality was, which is crazy. Like, what does that have to do with me serving you? And I know I know different people who are so-called religious look the part like they're holier than thou, but be some of the most crappiest people. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But I'm loving you out loud. You gonna get one thing you're gonna get with me is authenticity. But versus some other so-called a lot of religious people, different ones, you're not gonna get their full self because our religion has taught them, oh, don't let everybody see this. You know, at least you're gonna know you're gonna get authenticity with me. You're gonna get my best.
And to kind of like sum up what I got from what you said, speaking to mainly like gay youth, show up as who you are, authentic, and be the best you, because that's a part of the revolution of acceptance. You know, be that person where people can see you just a human being just like them. You're just trying to live your life just like everybody else. And I like that you told that story because people can see how you can turn all them situations around. You know, you can feel anger, you can feel disrespected and hurt, but you don't have to be that. You can turn all that around and it still works out in your favor. So to kind of end on a really, really good note, I want you to tell us, what is your life vision? When you envision, I know it's complex and I know we got to wrap it up, but like let me ask you this. What do you want Nspire to be remembered for? What is your vision for your legacy?
And you just said legacy. My thing is to just be legendary, like whoever I'm meant to be. Like, my legend is different from the next. Just be legendary. Like, there's no other. People used to call me India maybe because they know India already, you know, I was inspired by her or whatever. But although I was inspired by her, I am meant to be inspired. So I'm just, whoever inspires me to be, like, I'm just going to embrace it fully out loud. Just be the legendary. I've been speaking it every day, like different things I do. Legendary icon. I am a legendary icon, living. Like, whose son, Will Smith's son, is it Jaden Smith? But he got icon living, like his song.
I don't know.
Anyways, but I speak that I'm a legendary icon living. So they're just showing me like every day, just embrace it out loud. And sometimes you can't even say that to everybody because they be like, who should this shit? But I don't care about you, it's me.
Right. Well, I was going to ask you, when you say that, what does that mean to you?
Just being impactful, transformational, for the better, not just for me. Like, it starts in my own personal world, but for humanity overall. And we see that happening from the rallies, even me at school, different things. Like, it's not about me fitting in. Like, I told my student before, like, I realized, like, you know what? In school, when I was growing up, you know, I used to get all kinds of awards, you know, for being this or that or the top. But I was like, I don't know. I may not get the teacher of the year simply because oftentimes it'll pull me from doing other things that I know I need to do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then I have a relationship and family, and I'm, you know, over this and that for the community versus certain ones that I know get it. Oftentimes they have to give more time to that. But my students know, guess what? That I'm giving my best for what my students need versus trying to play the role all the time of what's expected, if you know what I mean.
So you're being legendary. Your definition of that is being pretty much like the best version of yourself, as long as you walking this planet. Like people are gonna know you are you. You showed up as yourself
And helping them do the same
and helping
thing.
people.
Connected to my mission, manifest your soulful expression.
Okay.
Like whatever your soulful expression is, I'm being an embodiment of that for me. I want to inspire others to be an embodiment of that for them. Manifest your soulful expression. Face your fears every day. Live fully out loud. Embrace your authentic self. Because when you do that, you realize it's a domino effect because your purpose, what you're to be, is now unlocking the door, whatever, for that next person to be.
And that's what makes you legendary.
Hello.
Right? I like that. Okay. Oh, before we end this, tell everyone where they can find your music.
Nspire Walker .herenow.com. But or just find me Nspire Walker, especially on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram is Nspire Walker 22.
Oh, she got a single that's out.
Do you remember?
Go ahead. Give them a little snippet.
Remember when I was young? Yes, that little girl who only wanted a color, no other cares in the world. Back when purity was the name of the game, didn't give a hill of beans about fortune or fame. Then life, yes, it happened to me. Don't care to mention the specific things. I know for sure I'm not the same, but I chose not to play the damn blame guy. Yeah, you remember me. Tell this
Well,
is T Hap. You can tell this is T
y'all,
Hap.
I have enjoyed my guests. I'm thinking we might do a part 2 because there's so much more that we can say. Like we can have our own podcast and talk about so much stuff, and maybe we will because there's so much stuff that needs to be talked about. And you can have 1,000,001 podcasts, but it's always something new that you can.
It's one gem that can stick.
So
out.
we might just do that
Okay.
because it's some more stuff you want to. I can feel that in my spirit. Yeah. Well, y'all, this is Tristan B. Hampton, and I am signing off. I hope you all enjoyed the interview with Miss Nspire Walker, and keep your eyes open because I got more to come. How was that?